Welcome to More Music Please, a Quarantine Beat. I'm your host, NK. Join me and my guest as we explore how the music industry is staying busy and keeping connected during lockdown, and also just talking about whatever. Let's get started. On the line with me tonight, my Hudson Valley neighbors and a music industry power couple. I hope that's not too corny of me to say. It's Michael Campbell and Laura Stevenson. Thanks for hopping on after bedtime, guys.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so, I mean, congratulations, first off. We're going to be talking a lot about pandemic babies tonight because you have a pandemic baby. Congratulations.
It's true. Thank you very much.
I wonder if that's what her generation's going to be named. Like, it's like the boomers, the, Gen Z, Zoomers, and these will be like the pandemic babies.
COVID cuties.
COVID cuties.
Well, there's the COVID cuties who were born during COVID, but then there's also, going to be a lot of like lockdown babies, 9, 10, 11 months from now.
Totally.
So, yeah,
totally.
it's going to be a whole...
The quarantine lovers.
Yeah. But congratulations, you are first-time parents, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
my
it's
God.
been a wild ride.
Yeah, you're off to a big start here.
Yeah, seriously.
But there's been a couple things like this where we need to like stick the landing of a scheduled, podcast interview or, like work call or something. And the baby's surprisingly good. Like, it's just like, we need this baby asleep by 9:30. Baby's asleep by 9:30.
Yeah, I mean, but we have the monitor next to us, and you might hear her going like, eh. And then we'll just cringe and be sad.
That's fine. It's realism. I have my puppy lying next to me. If somehow she's okay with being in this closet with me right now. So she's been like periodically squeaking one of the closet doors. So it's quarantine. Nothing's perfect during quarantine.
That's for sure.
So, you guys are both, like I said, you're my neighbors here in the Hudson Valley. And, Mike, so you work at the Colony, which is one of my very favorite venues in Woodstock. You are one of the main dudes over there. And I'd like to talk to you both about just what this has all been like for you. Laura as an artist and Mike as a booking agent, a talent buyer. What's your take on this whole situation right now?
Oh boy, where do we start?
I mean, I vividly remember March 12th, which was the first day of what was set up to be like an entirely sold out weekend of shows at the Colony. And it was, Laura and I were taking a walk because it was, in the very end of her pregnancy, and taking daily walks sort of like aids the process, just sort of like, let's move some things along. We'll take like a nice long walk.
This is what I hear, yeah.
Yeah.
And Bill McKenna from, Woodstock Town Board called me, and it was just like the dominoes just started falling, where it was like, oh, everything's closing, everything's getting canceled, like right now. It's happening right now, and like then so there was this couple hours of like not knowing what that meant, and then there was like a very big rush to, cross the T's and dot the I's and make sure everyone was like made aware like what was going on.
Because you had like guys from the band that were about to board a plane.
Right, yeah, like Archers of Loaf were starting their tour at the Colony, so they had all their backline being delivered to the Colony. They were about to literally boarding like at the gate, ready to get on their flight, and their manager's like calling me being like, is the show happening tomorrow or not? Like, I understand this is like unprecedented and no one can like really determine what's gonna happen, but like the band's getting on a plane to start their tour tomorrow. They're landing in Albany tonight. Is the show happening? And I was like, I can't tell you right now. Like, as of now, we've not been told no. So why don't we continue on with it being yes? And then basically it was just like I had to make a judgment call of like, you know what? It's actually not safe to have 300 to 400 people in a small space 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
While like the extent to which this is even transmittable, like no one knew. I mean, people still don't know how exactly contagious it is. One day you hear you can't catch it from surfaces, and the next day you hear actually you can, and some
there's
days
like super spreaders,
right, and you're like, oh, if you're asymptomatic you can't spread it. No, actually the WHO says you can spread. So it's like still 4 months later no one really knows, and at the time we knew even less. So it was like, we just sort of it was like, in hindsight, do we want to look back on this weekend and be like, I can't know for sure whether or not we made this a worse problem than it could have been, or did we prevent people from further spreading it, you know? And so we just sort of like, between Neil, myself, and Lex, and Stacy, we all sort of were just like, let's just pull the plug on this whole weekend now. And I mean, like, the show that night, the artist was already loaded in soundcheck.
Yeah.
Like, it was Mason Jennings. So we had to just sort of like be like, it's not happening tonight. And he was like, what do you mean? It's like, we are just pulling the plug, like, it's not safe. So, you know, it was just sort of like, no one told us, like, legally you can't do this, but us as a company, and, you know, we're very, like, community oriented, and we, you know, value our close relationships with the folks in Woodstock that, you know, support us. It was like, we can't, like, in good conscience put people in harm's way.
Yeah, you gotta look out for people.
Exactly. Just like we weren't told legally don't do this, but that doesn't mean it's like the right thing, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's how that all happened. And I mean, it's crazy. Like, I just feel like I'll never forget that day, March 12th, you know? And then 10 days later we had a baby. Like, it's just so crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was such a quick transition from like, oh, you know, like, I think, you know, it's not such a big deal as long as we're all careful and wash our hands. Like, I think we'll all be okay, and, you know, we can go on as planned. And then, yeah, like, I think I was supposed to have a gig with one of my bands on March 14th, and up until like the day before, we were like, we can probably still do it, right? It'll be small,
right.
it'll be whatever. And then, like, yeah, like you said, just all of a sudden it was like, oh, actually, no, no, we cannot in good conscience do this. So, yeah, Laura, what about you? So you were dealing with, you know, the very end of a pregnancy, and I think you had some shows planned as well.
Yeah, well, I had some stuff planned for this summer, which definitely is not happening.
Yeah.
And I was gonna go overseas in was it August?
Yeah.
But that's not gonna happen, and that was like my first kind of big foray back out into the world. Well, I also was gonna do some stuff with Brian Fallon, which I was really looking forward to, which is obviously also not happening. I think that was for July.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so July's tomorrow. It's not happening. Yeah, it's just like, you know, and these are all things that, like, you know, I also had stars in my eyes as a person who didn't have a baby yet, and I was like, I can go to Norway for 5 days in August. Like, my baby will be 5 months old. It'll be cool. But now I'm like, I don't know. That would have been also insane. So it's like, you gotta weigh what's crazier, being stuck, you know, inside with a pandemic baby, or leaving your baby for 5 days when it's 5 months old. I think the pandemic's a little crazier, but yeah, we were like end of pregnancy. I was just kind of like trying everything I could do to rush things along naturally. Like, just walking a lot and bouncing on a yoga ball and just trying to like thin my cervix out so that the baby would just come, because I was so scared the baby was going to be like a couple weeks late. And,
Yeah.
the virus was just going to be like out of control by then. I mean, there was just so many unknowns, and it seemed like, in my mind, everybody was sick. Like, even though I didn't know anybody that was sick, now I do know a lot of people that have had it, but like, at that point, it was just like, everywhere you turn, somebody is just going to be like spewing viral droplets at you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm sure the thought of
And-
being in a hospital was like terrifying.
Oh my God, yes. And so we basically had to decide if inducing early was the smart way to go, which sometimes like an induction could take like 3 days for labor to even start, and then if you need a C-section, that could be 3 more days. So like, we were looking at maximum like 7 days in the hospital, or like 6 or 7 days, or we wait until the baby's ready to come, and that could be at 42 weeks, and you know, then who knows, I might need an emergency C-section anyway, and that would be an additional 3 days in the hospital. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
it was like really having to weigh what was the safest thing, and we just toiled over it for so long, because my whole birth plan was like, I want to labor at home for as long as possible, and then I'm going to go to the New Garden Birth Center, and I'm going to have my doula with me, and like, you know, and I'm going to try to have a unmedicated birth, and I had all these ideas, but like your birth plans nothing ever goes the way that you think it's going to go, and this went very much not the way that we thought it was going to go. But we were really lucky because I did choose to get induced, and my water broke after 3 hours, and then the baby came, like 24 hours later, less than 24 hours later.
And we were in such a rush to get out of there. We were really just like, so the baby was born at like 10 p.m. on the 22nd, and we really wanted to, the less time spent in a hospital where we knew there were, because the New Garden Birth Center is just basically like an auxiliary building off of Northern Dutchess Hospital in Rhinebeck. So we knew like there are COVID patients being treated down the hallway. Like it was just like so like unnerving.
Yeah.
And it was like we were just in such a rush to get out of there, where it was like, but everyone there was so like, they got to keep doing their jobs the way that they know, where it's like, no, you're first-time parents.
And also it was snowing.
Oh, right, yeah. Also, it snowed for, like, the only time in March that day. So they're like, we don't want you driving home in the snow. You haven't slept in, like, 30 hours.
Right.
Like, it was like, you're first-time parents. We still want to, like, make sure you're equipped with all the knowledge and information you can have before you leave and go home and then
my breast milk
isolate.
wasn't coming yet. Like, my colostrum wasn't coming in, and so they like wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to breastfeed.
Yeah.
Or they needed to set me up with enough formula to get me going, because like there was also a formula shortage.
Oh my god.
Because of COVID, because everyone's stockpiling like toilet paper and formula. So it was just like truly nightmarish, MK. It was a real nightmare.
That's insane. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's so much stress already going into having your first baby, and like then to have a pandemic thrown on top of it, and like all of the hoarding that was going on at the time, like but it sounds like you have an extremely cooperative baby, like from day one.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we had a lot of breastfeeding struggles, and I was so determined to make it work. And she has like a lip tie, a tongue tie. She had like her jaw was completely misaligned because they had to suction her a lot when she was first born, because she wasn't breathing, because I pushed her out too quick, and she was like, her lungs weren't like ready.
Oh my gosh.
So like she was like all screwy. And so it took me like 2 months to get breastfeeding established, like fully, before otherwise I was like just pumping a lot and crying. It was a true nightmare.
Oh,
but I
Laura,
was so,
I'm so sorry. Jeez.
I know. Plus, like, you get the baby blues, which is a real thing, because your body's like, your hormones just like go crazy, and you flush out all like the good hormones, and then all the crazy hormones come in. And so like I was just absolutely beyond. I was beyond myself. I couldn't. It was hard to console me, because I was like, I need to breastfeed this baby, because she needs all my good antibodies. So formula was like not an option for me, even though it's like a wonderful option for so many people. I just like was so sleep deprived and so like out of my mind that I was like, I have to make sure this baby is gonna be okay, because we're giving birth to her and the world is shattering. So like the only thing I can give her is my milk, like it was crazy, but we figured it out.
Yeah, thank you for talking about this stuff, because I do feel like there's still this very like rosy image of childbirth and new parenthood, and I think it's important to put out there that like it's really fucking hard and terrifying. And I mean, I think from what I myself am not a parent and don't have any plans to be, but I have a lot of friends and family who are, and I think it would really benefit everybody who is considering becoming a parent, or who is a parent and has struggled with some of this stuff with postpartum depression and just all of the stuff about it that's hard and messy and not fun or cute, if we were all a little more honest about those parts.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, nobody tells you how insanely hard the recovery from childbirth is. Like, my sister, I called my sister and I was like, Katie, I don't know what's going on with my body. Like, because I didn't give myself enough rest. I was going up and down the stairs because I was kind of running on adrenaline the first couple days, and I was like really screwed up all of the tearing that had happened.
Oh, no.
And so I was afraid that I had an infection, but I was afraid to go to the doctor.
Right. All this thing where it's like all the normal stuff that's hard about being first-time parents, and for Laura specifically, physically what she's going through in the recovery process. Then there's this base coating over it all where it's just like, and you can't get help from anyone.
Yeah.
Like, because you're scared to interact with anyone else besides each other because the world's sick and dying.
Yeah.
It was like, it was wild. I
And
mean,
you can't get a lactation consultant to come into your house and tell you that your child has some physiological issues that are contributing to her difficulty with breastfeeding. Eventually we got someone from La Leche League who had been in very strict quarantine for 4 weeks. We got her to come to the house, and it was terrifying, but she was like, yeah, she's got a lip tie, she's got a tongue tie, she's got this, that, and the other thing. And the whole time I thought it was me, and because I was doing all these televisits with other lactation consultants, and they were just like, okay, yeah, I mean, it looks like she's latching fine. And I was like, no, it feels like it's very painful. It feels like no milk is coming.
yeah, I mean, you can't get good healthcare provider necessarily over FaceTime, which is what we were doing. It's
Yeah.
like you can't you point your iPhone at the baby's face and Laura's boob and be like, does this look right? And I mean,
Yeah.
they can't they need to get in there and actually touch the baby and be
Yeah.
like, this is the position you want her to be in. And, it was wild. And I mean, yeah, we look back now with hindsight where it's it's actually much worse now than it was then. So we maybe, I mean, not in New York, and thankfully not where we live. Ulster County is actually doing better than most places in the country, which is really awesome. But, I sort of wonder now with all these reopening things how long that's going to last. But, at the time, it felt like everything was ending cataclysmically immediately all at once.
Totally.
And
totally.
the thought of having anyone in our home to help, it was like you gotta play, it was the same thing. It's we have to make these decisions based on well, the baby needs to eat because the baby needs to eat, and she can't eat if she doesn't get help eating. But if we invite someone into our home, they could be bringing a disease that will kill us all. So
Right.
it's just these are literal decisions we had to make. It's mind-boggling, I mean, I
Yeah.
can't wait to spend the rest of my life unpacking it in therapy.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, we were feeding her. We were feeding her. She's very fat now, but
She's huge now.
Yeah, we were feeding her bottles, and she was having a really difficult time with the bottles because she has a really bad gag reflex. So feeding her in any capacity was just such a stressor, and it was just so sad because that should be the thing that makes the baby feel the most comforted. And it was just she was always crying, I was always crying, no matter how we fed her. But we got enough milk into her where she is way above her percentile for weight.
Atta girl.
So it's good. So it's all good.
Yeah, she looks great.
Yeah.
Sorry if we just kept answering your first question. and didn't
No,
let you
this is
continue
great.
Asking questions.
We haven't gone to any therapy yet, so
Maybe this is the first time we're unpacking it for you.
Use this
MK.
podcast. That's amazing. Yeah, as long as you don't mind. I find it super interesting and yeah, heartbreaking. I'm so sorry that it wasn't that it was such a struggle. I mean, and I was gonna say, I think we've all kind of gotten used to pandemic life a little bit now. Like you said, it's no better now than it was at the beginning in terms of national cases, but I think we're all, I don't want to say not as worried because we should all still be just as careful, but yeah, there's I guess we've kind of seen some examples of ways that it can be handled, for example the protests that have been happening, and I've been to a bunch of them, and people have been really, really good about wearing masks. And so far,
Right.
there's no evidence that the cities that have had major protests have any further outbreaks, whereas, cities that are reopening and have people gathering without masks are, experiencing spikes. So
Right.
we're starting to,
Right.
get a little bit of information that way and, know how we can kind of, protect ourselves and, with things that are safe. So hopefully now, if you need help, there are, people you can reach out to, and you can, maybe go to a doctor's office wearing a mask, and things are, has it gotten a little bit easier now?
I think we're a little bit less afraid. In the past couple weeks, I've felt like Mike went to the grocery store a couple times.
For the first time in 3 or 4 months, we thankfully have had a few friends did that for us for the first few months we were home.
Wonderful, beautiful.
Yeah, like
friends.
Shauna Falana and Mike Amari did a grocery shop for us. Stacy from the Colony did a grocery shop.
Danny
Melnick and Barry, our friends in town, did a shop. So like basically we, I mean, when a baby's first born, it doesn't have an immune system. So we were like completely terrified of just, like anything, not even just COVID, but like getting any sort of germs in the house, and like she wouldn't be able to fight it. But
Right.
we did go to a couple doctor's appointments. We wearing masks, and so I mean, it definitely feels, especially now as we just see the downward trend. I mean, I'm addicted to Ulster County Rep Pat Ryan's updates. Like,
Yes.
he does them twice a week, and it's appointment television for me.
He's doing a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so his updates have made it feel like, we should remain vigilant but feel like optimistic, which is kind of like, I mean, we took a walk today where we didn't see another person, but we had masks. It's like you got to, if you chance upon someone in public, you need to be wearing a mask.
Absolutely.
It's just like the proof is just so obvious and clear that's.
And there's nothing wrong with it, like there's like it really is. It doesn't change your life in any way. It's just, it makes you feel safer, and it makes people around you feel safer if you're wearing a mask. Like, it's so crazy to me. Oh no, the baby is
She's fine.
making noises.
I think she's just rustling around.
Okay.
She's allowed. She can make as many noises as she wants.
Yeah. She does. She kind of just makes little noises when she's in her sleep sack.
Aw.
But we'll see. We may have to pause to tend to her, but she's
No
I think
worries.
she's good. But yeah, it's so crazy to me how the mask wearing has become this politicized thing, and people are like my friend Tierney she just posted on Instagram that she was in Lowe's, I think.
She lives in Orlando.
Yeah, she lives in Florida, and she was wearing a mask, and somebody was like fucking with her by getting really close to her I guess to just antagonize her, because they find mask wearing to be like a liberal thing.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it's really fucking insane. I mean, it's like
so
even
crazy.
if you don't want to wear a mask and you don't understand why people do, like, why is it any of your business if somebody else does? And of course, that's my version of devil's advocate, because really we should all just be shutting up and wearing the masks because it's been proven to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me. I feel like if just our idiot president just said to people, to his idiot followers, wear a mask, this all would be over. But instead, he's getting Pence to tell people. So it like doesn't even fucking matter.
Right.
It's
And
just,
he himself
it's
is
so
being
crazy.
tested. He's being tested daily. Everybody who's around him is being tested. Like, he is being careful for himself, but he refuses to, put it out there to his followers and, do anything that might actually
So
help.
Crazy.
And
it's my blood is boiling.
It's just such an obvious and transparent, like, this guy who his followers think he's this like example of rugged masculinity. He's like a child. Like, I don't understand how like his followers have put him on this pedestal like he's John Wayne or something. Where it's like, no, he's a petulant child who doesn't want to be proven that he was wrong ever. And he's like, no, you know what? Maybe now I realize I was wrong about the masks, but I can't admit that I was wrong because that's weak. It's like, no, you not admitting you were wrong is going to cost literally thousands of people's lives. And it's just because you are a child. Like, I don't know.
It's so disgusting.
I don't know. Talking shit on Trump is kind
I
of
know,
low-hanging fruit,
Whatever.
but it's
We
like...
do it a lot in this house. but-
Surprisingly, we've done a lot of indirect Trump shit talking on this podcast, but we haven't really like gone for the jugular yet. So I'm fine with it.
Cool.
I mean, there's so many other, but there's so many other things that are like, that fan out from Trump as like figurehead of just this toxic culture. I mean, and it's just, he's just the easiest punching bag, but it's a lot more detailed than just this one idiot. You know.
Yeah, he's
the
a
king of the
magnifying
idiots.
glass for problems that already existed, and I mean he's. Maybe a prism is a better metaphor than a magnifying glass, because he's providing this he's just directing this rainbow of terrible over the nation.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
crazy.
like focusing
Anyway,
hatred
sorry.
and refracting it into a hideous shit colored rainbow.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Ay,
Anyway,
ay.
sorry, we haven't even let you ask questions.
No, don't be sorry. This is literally what the podcast is.
Okay, cool,
Okay.
cool.
I decided when I got out of radio that I didn't want to do the super direct and focused, and we're just going to talk about promotion and the thing. I mean, I'm happy to talk about promotion and whatever projects you have going on. I'm very interested in that too. But like when I was in radio, it was like I had 15 to 20 minutes to talk about just that, and there was no
Right.
time to ramble, and I couldn't swear, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a little fun with this one.
No, that makes
Fuck that.
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like, you're sort of like, tethered to the medium, and you're held back just by the amount of time. Whereas, like, the medium of podcasting, you can go as long or as short as the conversation dictates.
Totally. And professionalism as well. I mean, when I was working for a radio station, I was representing the radio station, so I couldn't, just openly say fuck Trump, but now I'm just representing myself, so fuck Trump.
Right.
Here, here.
Yeah. Well, so
Scary
what have you
stuff.
been doing to kind of stay sane in the middle of all this? I mean, I'm sure it's been a little bit of an adventure, kind of getting into a schedule with the baby and everything. But is there anything that's kind of keeping keeping your heads above water?
Well, you've been buying a lot of records.
Yeah, I do a lot of late night discogsing for sure.
and,
All right.
and vintage T-shirts.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like this comfort thing where I can't go to a record store and I can't go to a thrift store, but I could follow all these resellers on Instagram and then just like blindly just purchase, and then I go when it arrives like a week later, like, oh wow, I guess I went shopping. I don't know.
And there's that cool guy from the quiz show that's
Oh
donating
yeah,
all the T-shirt
yeah, Scott
proceeds.
Rogowski. You ever play that iPhone quiz game HQ?
I played it once. That's the one where you can like win money.
Yeah, yeah. So the host of that show is selling. I guess he's like amassed like thousands of vintage, like shirts and just vintage ephemera over the years, and he's selling off his entire collection, and he's donating like all the proceeds to Black Lives Matter.
Oh, awesome.
And it's amazing. I mean, he has like such amazing stuff, and the prices is like he's not selling it for profit. He's selling it for to donate to a cause. So the price is like. I don't know. He has amazing pieces, and they're for reasonable prices, and 100% of it goes to Black Lives Matter. So that sort of like justifies in my head, like, okay, so there's a $100 Whitney Houston T-shirt from 1991. It's gonna go to Black Lives Matter, so I could drop that $100 on that.
But we
like,
need to figure out where we're gonna fucking put everything.
It's true.
That's
It's
the
true.
thing.
So these
Now we
are
have a
because I was
baby.
picturing like vintage like band T-shirts. That's mostly what they are.
It's that, and a lot of like old sports shirts that just like it's late 80s, early 90s stuff. It is a lot of band shirts, but also just sort of like 90s culture, pop culture stuff too.
Yeah, it's so hard to like get rid of that stuff. I mean, because I was gonna say, I'm sure you have some older stuff that you could cycle out and make room for the new ones you've been amassing, but I try to do that every like few weeks. I'll go through all of my T-shirts and like try to weed out the ones I don't really wear, but there's some that I don't wear but I still really like, and I don't want to get rid of them.
I know. No, I feel the same way. And I mean, it's like
But we're gonna try to have a one in, one out policy.
Yeah, I think you gotta.
I guess we do need to make more room for our child. Fine.
Well, she's gonna need to wear T-shirts someday.
Right.
We could turn them into onesies. Just cut little leg holes in all of them.
Or
But yeah, I mean, I
always
used
hear-
to find like record store shopping, like going through the bins at record stores, or going through the aisles at thrift stores to be like meditative, and just obviously this like serotonin experience where you're just sort of like searching, and like I don't know, I obviously can't do that in the last 3 months, so
Yeah.
I've had to do it on my phone. I don't know.
True.
I get it. I do Poshmark sometimes. I have been good about not doing it because obviously, not pulling in a ton of money right now, so I'm not trying to do too much of it. But I do like Poshmark when times are a little easier.
Okay. Yeah, I've looked at Depop, but I haven't looked at Poshmark.
Poshmark is like used clothing. Is it like it's like a thrift store online, right?
Yeah, it is,
Kind of?
but it's like
designer stuff.
I've not necessarily. It's not all designer stuff, but like I tried ThreadUp, and I found ThreadUp to be not that great. Like, just the quality of the stuff wasn't that good. But Poshmark, I've found the stuff is like usually in really, really good shape, and there is some like really nice, like good brand stuff. There are some bargains, but there's some stuff that's like almost full price. But then, I've ordered like some shoes from brands that I really love, but like wouldn't really want to spend the money on new that are, pretty steeply discounted. So it's good for
Right.
stuff like that. I don't really know what they're like for menswear, so I can't really vouch for that. But for women's stuff, they're awesome.
Ooh, maybe when I start wearing clothes again.
Yeah.
I'll,
Exactly.
Because right now it's been like, well, for the first like month, it was like an open robe with like maybe underpants. It was like pretty graphic. But now I've been like wearing some pajama pants sometimes.
That's a step.
But sometimes not a shirt.
I mean, everything just gets thrown up on or shit on by the baby, so it's
Yeah.
like whatever you're wearing, you're gonna have to just take off
And
in
if you're
5 minutes
pumping,
anyway.
you're pumping 8 times a day. You have to like put your pump bra on. You don't want like a pesky shirt in the way, you know?
Yeah.
So, but maybe eventually. But for me, I feel like to stay sane, lately I've been doing yoga every night before I go to sleep, which has been like really helpful. Unless it's like a very like rigorous class, in which case then like all of a sudden like I'm like all awake and then I'm like shit, I can't sleep. But it's been like kind of centering, which I guess yoga does, like where I'm just trying to figure out like what it's like to live in my body again, because my
Yeah.
body has just gone through the ringer, you know.
I'm
So,
sure it feels like a whole different body. Yeah.
oh yeah, completely. Like you don't have abs anymore. Like your core is just not strong anymore. And it's like you have to just rebuild all of those muscles. It's so crazy. And I've never been this physically weak, but I'm really trying to get back to where I was, which is way harder than I thought. I never had to like really get back in shape the way that I'm having to right now, like just in terms of strength. So it's like it's daunting feeling, but I'm working on it nightly.
Yeah. Are you doing you're doing like YouTube classes?
Yeah, I have I love Yoga with Adrienne. Do you know Yoga with Adrienne?
No, I don't yoga. I really should probably start, but I don't yoga yet.
Well, she's great, and she's like super accessible, just like really lovely human being. And she just has like all these yoga series, and it's a really good way to get into it because she's like it's just super accessible. And then I have this like really cheesy yoga DVD called Yoga Meltdown with Jillian Michaels.
Classic.
Which is like, it's not yoga at all, but it's like exercise, and there's like a lot of like strengthening poses and stuff. So I do that sometimes, but it's very, very silly. So I try to do it out of earshot of Mike because we just start laughing.
Yeah, I've tried yoga. I can't like I'm bad with like practice in general. Like anything where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes a day for the foreseeable future. I'm terrible about sticking to that. I've done this to myself with languages, with yoga practice, with meditation and mindfulness practice, and like I do a little bit here and there, but I can't quite commit to the once a day thing. So kudos on sticking with it.
Well, I'm trying. I mean, sometimes it's not once a day. Sometimes it's like 3 times a week.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that you find the time to do it at all is like really amazing.
Yeah, I try. I'm trying.
Yeah. What is the schedule like? Like, what is it like, as somebody who will probably never have to do it myself, what is it like living with a new baby? Like, what is the schedule like day to day?
It's changed. It's actually at a pretty like reliable place now, but it was wild at first. I mean, the baby just would like sleep very sporadically, but now it's like you can pretty much rely on it. Like, I mean,
Well, she'll go down at like 8:30, 9:30.
yeah, she'll go down between 8:30 and 9:30, and then be asleep, except for like maybe one time she'll wake up for 5 minutes and then go right back
Which
to sleep.
sounds like she might
But
be
she-
doing right now.
But she sleeps until like 5 in the morning. So like
Yeah.
she'll sleep for like a solid, Laura goes to bed at 9, 10, and then I get the baby down, and then I'm with the baby, like kind of sleeping next to where the baby's sleeping in case she wakes up. And then when the baby's up for the day at 5, like I give Laura the baby, and then I go to bed for like 3 or 4 hours. It's crazy. So basically, like Laura and I each get probably like 6 hours a night,
Well, because I have to wake
but
up.
not together, like not at the same time.
I have to
Yeah.
wake up twice to pump though.
Right.
Because if you start pumping, like they just sent me home with all this like pump information, and so I just started pumping, and now I have this crazy oversupply. So if I don't pump a lot, and I'm still breastfeeding her, if I don't pump a lot, then I'll get like clogged ducts, and then you could get this thing called mastitis, which is an infection in your breast, and then like you have to take antibiotics, and it's like a whole nightmare, and
fucking
apparently
thing,
it's
yeah.
the most painful thing in the world. I haven't had mastitis yet, knock wood,
Ooh.
but I've had clogged ducts like, I don't know, 5 times. It's really awful. So, oh shit, is she awake?
Why don't you talk to MK
About my ducts?
Why don't you talk to MK about like music stuff, and I'll make the baby go back to sleep.
Do you want to do that, MK?
Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
Okay, do you think it'll be like 5 minutes?
Yeah, or she might even be. Nope,
No, she's
I'm
awake.
gonna pick her up.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, just pick her up, walk her around. Okay, cool. So anyway,
So this is what
Wait.
happens when she wakes up. Somebody has to go and pick her up and walk her around.
yeah, because she doesn't do pacifiers because she gags on them, so she can't really like self-soothe yet, and we're like trying to figure out how to make her, you know, just kind of like get herself back to sleep, but she hasn't figured it out yet. So like it's kind of annoying. She's also really bad at naps, so like I'm up at 5, I pump at like 11 and I pump at 3, and then I'm up for the day at 5 and I feed her and then try to get her to go back to sleep. But you have to be in a completely dark room. A lot of
Oof.
babies aren't like this, but she is. So like the room has to be completely dark and completely silent, or else she can't take a nap. So most babies like will just nap in a stroller, you know, or like their car seat, or just in their little swing. But it's like annoying because you have to like bring her to a room and like get her down. And if you don't tell her like she needs to go to sleep, she'll get overtired, and then she is just impossible to get to sleep, and it's
Yeah.
a nightmare. So like, yeah, she takes like 4 or 5 naps a day that have to be like forced.
That's so bizarre. Like the overtired thing was always the weirdest to me, because I mean I've heard about this a little bit from my brother and sister-in-law, and I've even seen it with my puppy because we got her when she was a little baby, and it's like it's so weird that they're too tired to go to sleep.
I know, it doesn't make sense to me. I didn't think it was even like possible, but it's real. And she'll just be like hysterical crying, and you could tell she's tired because her eyebrows get really red, like the skin under her eyebrows gets really red, and I had no idea that was a sign of tiredness because nobody's been here to help us at all.
Yeah.
Or like give us their wisdom. So like I was Googling it. I was like, red eyebrows, why? And it was like, tired. And I was like, oh shit.
Man, what
So,
would we
like-
do without Google, dude?
Yeah, seriously, Google has like gotten me through parenting. And like my mom was here last week for the first time. The baby's 3 months, and my mom finally got to come and meet my baby, which was like beautiful. And she quarantined at my sister's house because she lives in Florida. So she flew up, she quarantined at my sister's house. They drove up, they didn't stop, they just like peed on the side of the road, and then they came here and spent a couple days. And when they were here, they were like, she's teething, because the baby just kept crying and she was like drooling a lot. And I didn't think that babies could teeth at 3 months, but they can.
Huh.
Oh. And so it was like she needs like a teether, and she needs like yada yada yada, and you need the wisdom of, you know, like mothers. And like
Yeah.
if you don't have that hands on, it's like you're just fucking like shooting in the dark. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure guidance would be really, really nice right now.
Yeah.
Does she respond? So she's 3 months old. You know, I realize she's not doing a whole lot yet. Does she respond to like music? Have you played music for her, really?
Yeah, I sing to her, and she really loves the song "I Will" by the Beatles.
Aw.
And she really loves some old songs that I sing. Well, I mean, like, I don't know if she loves them, but I think that she is familiar enough with them that she is calmed by them, and I could feel that she's like, there's a familiarity with the songs. And there's 2 songs that my grandma used to sing to me that I sing to her now, and she likes those. I sing "A Case of You" by Joni Mitchell, but that was really hard in the beginning because my voice was like so weak from not sleeping. So like,
Yeah.
I couldn't hit the highs. But yeah, so like she definitely responds to my singing of songs, and like in terms of like we played her a lot of reggae the other day, and she seemed to like it.
I hear reggae has like a calming effect. Like I mean,
Yeah.
not to keep comparing babies to dogs, but it's my main point of reference. But I do hear that studies have shown that like dogs find reggae relaxing. So I feel like babies might too.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I find reggae super relaxing and just like beautiful melodies. So
Yeah.
yeah, we played her. We found this Radio Dread. I don't know even like how we stumbled on it.
The
Oh, it was,
Radiohead,
I'm back.
Mike's
Hey,
back.
MK.
the Easy Star album.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
the
god, I
Toots-
love that album.
Yeah,
The
Toots
Toots cover.
was on the Radiohead cover. I forgot what the song was,
Oh, it was so good.
but it just came on like a Trojan Records playlist that we just had on in the background in the house. It was just like amazing. So
Yeah.
And then we were like, "What is this on?" Because I was like, "Is this a Radiohead?" Like the melody was just like exactly this Radiohead song. So I thought that Radiohead had ripped off Toots, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But then, and I was like, "And the chorus is exactly the same. What the fuck?" And then yeah, you looked it up, and it was like, "No, this is Radio Dread." And then we
Yeah.
listened to that. Baby loved it because I was playing her No Surprises a lot because there's like there's also a Radiohead like lullaby album that's played on like little bells, and so the No Surprises, that song just on that lullaby album is so beautiful. And then I just like was listening to the lyrics and watching the music video for No Surprises after that, and it just became kind of like the anthem of the pandemic for me because it's just so poignant and such a beautiful song. So
Yeah.
maybe she likes that song. I don't know.
And there's a wonderful
Yeah.
version on the Radio Dread album. Yeah. Oh man, those Easy Star cover albums are like some of my favorite like go-to music. So there's the Radio Dread one. There's the Sergeant Pepper one. They do the whole Sergeant Pepper album.
Ooh.
And
Oh, hell yeah.
And what's the third one? Oh my god. It's Dub Side of the Moon. They do Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh.
Whoa, fun.
And they're-
okay,
they're
that'll
all-
be tomorrow.
So fucking good. And there's like, this wide variety of artists who are on it, and like it's all you got to listen to the Sergeant Pepper's I think it's like Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts dub band, and the version of She's Leaving Home on there is it's so good.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, we're
Yeah.
definitely listening
It's like
to
some
that
of my
tomorrow.
favorite, like when I'm just like when I'm hanging out with people like around a fire pit or something, to like throw one of those albums on sneakily in the background, and it's always one of those like everybody's really enjoying it, they're all like really feeling it, and then somebody goes, wait, is this Radiohead?
I love that.
It's
That's
so good.
amazing. I'm so excited for the Sgt. Pepper's one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you brought those
That's
guys
great.
up. I do. I love those very, very much. What are you looking forward to as parents? Like besides just getting back into a normal sleep schedule, is there a particular like phase of raising a kid that you're especially looking forward to?
Oh, I don't know. I'm so excited for Mike for you to teach her how to ride a bike.
Aw.
In my mind, I just see him like pushing the little bike, and maybe she's got like rainbow streamers on her little bike. And, I don't know. She's got like dirt on her face.
Gotta have some dirt on her nose.
Just like shit like that. I don't know. What are you looking forward to?
I don't know. It's crazy because it's like sometimes I mean we'll just be holding her and just taking care of her and just be like, who are you gonna be? Just be. What are you gonna like? Like, what kind of music are you gonna like? What kind of stuff are you gonna be into? Like what, just to see, because obviously it's not like you can't like blink and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's a teenage kid in their goth phase. It's gonna be like a gradual, evolution of a person. I don't know. I'm just sort of like, it's crazy. I can't. She's developing so rapidly in this microcosmic period of time. That's just 3 months where you can just tangibly see from day to day how much development is occurring. But it's like, I mean, every signpost along the way is just like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's gonna change so quickly and so dramatically, and it's just gonna be like one long experience. I don't even know if I could even say like, I'm so excited to see what sports she likes to play or what. I just think it's it's going to be an ever-changing thing, that it's going to just be a new surprise like
Yeah.
every day, you know? I don't
Because
know.
she's like already who she's gonna become. Like she already is the personality inside of this like shell, you know. And we're like just trying to like figure out who she is, and she's just gonna show us. And
Right.
it's, like,
Yeah.
It's gonna be
It's
so
it's almost
cool.
like your own like lifelong experiment that you have running now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I like that you said that she is already who she's going to be, because I do think that's true. I think that, you know, there is a lot of nature in us, but there's also so much nurture, and she hasn't, I mean, at least not consciously, she hasn't been exposed to anything yet. So, you know, what is she going to, you know, absorb from you guys? Is she going to grow up, you know, loving the same movies and books and television and music, or is she going to reject all of it and go her own way? Like, yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be, it's going to be a real
I mean,
ride.
a testament to that, when I was 3 years old, I said, and there's a video of it, my parents have it, when I was 3 years old in preschool, they asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to be in a rock and roll band. And like, that's what I did. Like, I was like 3 years old, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I mean, yeah, I guess that was just in me, right? Like, that's just
Yeah.
like what I wanted to do.
Yeah, but also your dad was like teaching you how to play the guitar. There's like
Not when I
video-
was 3.
Yeah, but there's like little pictures of you as a little baby, and he's playing the guitar. in front
Sure.
of
I
you.
guess there is some nurture to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it's a
mean,
little bit of both, maybe.
what's your sign though? Because maybe I don't know, maybe you're more predisposed to like knowing what you want, because I can't relate to that at all. When I was a little kid, the earliest thing I remember saying I wanted to do was be a stunt woman, and
Whoa.
obviously I've never done anything like that. And in fact, I hate dangerous situations now. So so I don't know, I'm a Gemini. What are you?
I'm a Leo.
You're a Leo. Okay. Laura, what about you?
I'm a Taurus. I don't know
Okay.
anything about astrology though.
I don't really either, but I just, you know, it's also interesting. There's so many theories on like what makes us who we are. And there are some things like, you know, I can point to like events in my life and say like, yes, like this is part of, you know, why this aspect of my personality is this way. But there's other things that it's like, where the hell did that come from? And like, I even, you know, if we're allowed to get really woo, I kind of believe in past lives a little bit.
Mm.
You know, I've always like had this weird attraction to tall ships, like tall wooden ships. And I get very excited if anybody ever calls me captain. So I feel like I was a sea captain.
I love that.
And like, you know, I didn't grow up by the ocean or anything. So I don't know. I feel like maybe I was
Huh.
a sea captain.
I love that. That's very cool.
Right, so I mean, like, all of these things sort of make up whatever the stew is that we become, right? I mean, it's also like intention, right? So I mean, if at a young age you felt inclination to something, you just sort of will it to be, right? So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if that's something you're into, then you just sort of like keep thinking in those terms, and then you continue like setting yourself up to have those experiences, right? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like
I don't know.
you knew from an early age that you were musical and that you wanted to, you know, be involved with music and play music, and so I'm sure you sought those opportunities out throughout your
Right.
life.
Yeah. And now look at us. We're not playing music.
Yeah, we'll never play music again, apparently.
No. I mean, it's such a weird time. Yeah, I've been talking to so many artists in particular and I've kind of like, when I started the podcast, I was like, the focus was going to be how are we keeping busy and how are we, you know, staying connected to each other and to our fans and to our listeners. And very quickly, I realized the answer is pretty much always going to be the same. It's like, you know, you do some live streams, you put out some music, maybe you record a little bit while you're in quarantine, but that's about all you can do. And nobody has any answers about like when touring will happen again, when shows will happen again. So we're all just kind of like adjusting to this new reality. But, you know, I mean, music continues to be necessary and continues to be made, and you know, we're not going to ever stop making music, even if there's, you know, nobody to play for, we'd still play it.
That's
Right.
true. That's true. I'm excited to like start writing again. I feel like a lot of like there's just so much in there now
Yeah.
to come out. But it might come out as like a children's song.
That could be cool.
I make up a lot of songs for the baby. That's basically the only thing that I've been doing creatively is just like making up songs about her butt and her toes, which are both equally cute.
But you also were smart in the way you set yourself up because you recorded, like 13 songs. You went into the studio and recorded like a whole new record while you were 6 months pregnant.
Oh, me. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah.
When we did that?
I was pointing at me going, me?
It feels like it was like a lifetime ago, but yeah, it was really only like 4 months ago.
Yes.
But you set yourself up pretty well, not even knowing that we'd be in the current situation, but just knowing you were going to be, we were going to be home raising a child. You weren't going to be really as active as you usually are, but you wanted to have like new material recorded. And
I wanted to have like a record kind of on like ready to go when I was ready to go back into the world. So it's cool because that exists, and so I don't feel like I have a lot of catching up to do, when things like actually start moving for me. But yeah, I don't know.
That's very cool. Is it mixed and mastered?
It's mixed, but it's not mastered yet.
That's exciting. So there's new music on the horizon.
Yeah, and I haven't listened to it in a while. I was going to listen to it today, but I didn't get around to it because the baby was being a baby.
Yeah. I hear they do
But
that.
Yeah, it'll be a while since I've last listened to it, and I was just curious like what it even sounds like because it was like I was super pregnant when we were mixing it, like super duper pregnant. It was January or February when we finished. February?
sounds right.
So yeah, I was like it's all kind of a blur.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be like listening to something brand new the next time you hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea what it sounds like.
Which could be bad or good.
Yeah,
where
I
it's
might
like,
just start picking it apart and have to call John and Yella and be like, John, wait, no, change the mixes. He'll be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, don't make any snap decisions. Listen to it a few times, but
Yeah.
but yeah,
I'll drink a glass of wine first.
exactly? Yeah, that's the move. Yeah, are you able to kind of enjoy alcohol again a little bit?
I'm enjoying some alcohol right now, but
Yay.
it's very. This is a treat because
This might be the first drink you've had in a year. Do you think?
Well, I had a little bit of stout to get my breast milk going.
Oh, right.
But yeah,
That works?
this is like my first. This is my first like worry-free drink. I feel like.
Nice. Well, I just
I'm
have a
drinking
big
wine.
thing of water, but I'm virtually cheersing you over Skype.
Oh, cheers. Yeah, it's cuz like I don't know when I'm going to sleep, usually I just go to sleep and Mike and I don't see each other till he like comes into the room at 5 a.m. and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "She's ready to eat." And I'm like, "Well, who am I?" So, yeah, this is like our first like hanging out after the baby's asleep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Wow,
kinda cool. Yeah.
I'm delighted I could be a part of it.
Of course. Me too.
How's we've got a few minutes left in the hour, and I want to just catch up with you guys a little bit too. How's the house? How's the dog?
Dog's good, house is good, still standing.
Yeah, we got a lot of work done before. Like we knew we wanted to get the house to a certain place where we wouldn't have to do any more work once the baby was here. So
Yeah.
we did a few cosmetic and larger projects on the house.
Got rid of all the lead paint on the outside of the house.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
that's good.
necessary.
That was scary.
Is your I can't remember. MK, how old is what year was your house built?
I think it's like 100 years old. I think it's either late 18 or early 1900s.
Yeah, ours
Cool.
is 1850, and basically any house built before 1960 has lead all over the fucking place. So so we had to like make sure that we took care of that.
Well, because you can seal lead by painting over it, but the exterior of our house is brick, and it was covered in lead paint, and that tends to like chip off a lot, especially on like
Right.
exterior paint. So like, we just had a lot of like chippy lead paint, and apparently kids like to eat it because it tastes sweet.
Is
Somebody
that
told
true?
me?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's like supposed to be a danger for dogs too, and I do have it. I have
Right.
radiators, and I know there's lead paint chipping off the radiators, and like I brushed off as much as I could with like a metal brush, while I was getting the house ready to move in, and I just was like, all right, we're just gonna have to keep the chips that fall on the floor away from the dogs because I'm not like, scraping these all down and repainting them. That's not a project
Right.
I want to take on.
Right. I mean, you could also put when you're ready to repaint, you don't have to scrape it all off. Shauna taught us a trick to use caulk and just kind of like go over the chippy parts with the caulk, and then you can like seal it with the paint. So like it makes it so that like none of the lead will like come off. It's not going to be like perfectly smooth, but it'll like protect you.
At least it's like like a pragmatic
Yeah,
way of
it's not going to
dealing
look
with it.
awesome, but
Yeah.
it's going to be like whatever.
Genius. Okay. I mean, I also my parents' take on my radiators is just, let it chip off gradually because they're more efficient if they don't have paint on them anyway.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Ours are covered in many layers of paint, and our house is very cold. Shit.
Wow.
Well, there
Good
you
to
go.
know.
I have no idea if it's true, but this is what my parents tell me. How's the dog with the baby?
She's so good.
Yeah, she's very sweet, and she realizes like this is I think, I mean, I asked you the other day, I was like, do you think she realizes this is like a person? like, does she think this is an animal we brought into that? Like it's like, because the way like a newborn moves is very much like an animal in distress kind of.
Yeah, and
So,
it smells super weird, of course.
yeah, but I mean, she's been very sweet, and we did like a very sort of slow introduction of them, and I mean, it's they acknowledge each other now. They sort of like make eye contact now. It's crazy. It's really wild. But she definitely has this look in her face of like, I've been replaced, like, and it's
Aw.
like, I don't know if I'm imprinting that or not, but like, we try to make some time at the end of every day to make sure she knows
That
you know.
we love her. I give her a lot of extra treats, but she's been like I feel like there's an air of sadness about her now because she knows that like we're more busy.
We're
like,
focused on
our
this other
attention
thing.
is
Yeah.
kind of like diverted, but she definitely she's not allowed upstairs because when we first got her I was kind of allergic to her, so I was like, the rule of the house is dog's not allowed to come upstairs, but she's been coming upstairs when I'm up there with the baby, and she just lays down at the top of the stairs, and I think it's because she's like being protective.
Oh, good girl.
It's really sweet.
She is very, very good.
Because she's never been, and I allow it because I'm like, I know she's there for like a good cause. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna tell her to go downstairs. I'm just gonna let her chill because like I know she's just like kind of looking out for us. So she's such a sweet girl. She's
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, don't project too hard. I'm sure she's not like, oh, they've replaced me. I'm sure it's just like they're busy right now. It's kind of a bummer, but things will balance
Yeah.
back out.
Yeah, I look at her and I'm like, I'm sorry, Lou. I'm sorry.
But I mean, we're lucky because we have like a fenced-in backyard. So if it's like, we sort of leave the back door open and she can come in and out as she wants. So if we're not able to like pay super close attention to her throughout the day, she could sort of do her own thing. But
Yeah.
I try to walk her pretty regularly if we can.
And if she needs to party, she just like runs outside, and then she just like she can party solo. She
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like all of a sudden I'll just see her zooming around the yard because she's like been playing with a thing, and then all of a sudden she gets excited and she just starts like doing crazy circles, and I'm like, okay, she's
she's having a blast.
party of
Aw.
fun.
A little champion.
Yeah,
And, give it 2 years and she'll have a toddler to play with.
exactly.
exactly.
We just keep going. This is your best friend. You don't even know it yet. You guys are gonna be the best of friends.
Yeah.
But now I'm like so worried because like, man, the dog is not gonna live forever, and that's gonna be very
Yeah,
hard.
I don't even want to think
I
about
know.
You can't
I
think
think
about
about
it
it
yet. You can't. These are the things we take on when we adopt dogs. We know that
I
it's
know.
finite, but
I
you
know.
just
That's what makes it sweet though, because like
Yeah.
you know that every day is a special thing when it's like, short lived.
Oh, and it happens so fast. I mean, I can't believe it. I've got my older dog is going to be 9 this year.
Oh,
And
wow.
and our puppy who we got last summer is 1 now. It's like, where does the time go?
Yeah, it's flies. It's gonna feel like it's going a lot quicker. I feel like every year it's just like, what?
Yeah.
MK, I'm curious. What do you think? When do you think like indoor live music happens again?
My best educated guess is next fall.
Yeah, I
Is
think
what
so
I
too.
think. Yeah, indoor. I think we're gonna start seeing outdoor. And I've talked to, I was talking to Lara Hope, and we were talking a lot about doing like small house concert type of things with like either acoustic acts or small acts and crowds of maybe like 20 people with space to move around and masks and everything. And like I think that could start happening pretty soon. I think we might see some in areas that are doing pretty well and not experiencing a lot of cases, and where people are willing to do things safely. I think we could start having some gentle fun. But
Right, right.
yeah, I don't
And
think indoor.
it'll be in those unofficial sort of DIY
Right.
settings before like the Live Nations and the AEGs come back. Like it'll be what will blossom first is like these
Or so far sounds are gonna cash in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean these like unofficial house show type things will be the first things to come back, and ideally it'll be done in a safe way,
Yeah. Do you have any, would you want to like organize anything like that? Is that something you might be thinking about within a year or so, or are you going to kind of, let others make the mistakes first?
I mean, I am booking 2021 currently. And I'm moving shows for the third and fourth time, like big shows that I have already sold 200 tickets to and more, because it's like these shows need to happen, but we just keep needing to like push it later and later and later. But yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think there will be anything close to resembling like normal in like the old world sense of normal, like pre March 12th normal, until there's a vaccine. Which I mean, I'm hearing like optimistically, January is like an optimistic thing for having a vaccine commercially available, but I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I
and
agree that like not traditional setups are going to be the thing that comes up first.
yeah, and then even if we do see a vaccine in January, as you said, commercially available in America means not everybody's going to be able to afford it because,
Exactly.
our pharmaceutical industry has no soul. So, I was just reading today that this COVID drug that was funded by taxpayer money, then cost $10 to produce, is going to be sold for like $2,500. And it's like, come the fuck on! Can we please, for once, just be cool?
I mean, in a world we live in, like every day there's a new thing that's like, I can't believe that we're allowing this.
Yep.
Like I mean, again, not to go back to like the low hanging fruit of Trump, but like he literally turned a blind eye to Putin funding the assassination of American troops. Like this is just
Yeah.
like a not refutable fact.
Yeah,
And
this is just today's
like,
headline.
This is just
Yeah.
like the daily news. It's just like something that's like passively crosses your Twitter like timeline on a Tuesday.
And then you
Like-
just go, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah,
I
this is
know.
just something our country and our world will accept. And as
And I'm
as
not
is,
laughing
like,
because
a
it's
$10
funny. It's
drug
obviously not
costing
funny, but like,
$2,500.
yeah, like yeah, it's not funny, but I'm laughing because it's just so absurdly terrible. It's just
No,
so.
it's true.
But I mean, the one good thing is that I am seeing that some of his supporters are finally like, oh, like wait, the troops? Wait, we like the troops.
Right.
And now it's finally hitting home.
Yeah.
They're finally opening their eyes, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a scary world to bring a child into, and I should have. I mean, like it has been this scary, and it was just like I was blissfully ignorant enough to be like, okay, let's bring a kid into this world. And now
Yeah.
it's like it's
I
just
mean,
so in your face that it's so fucked up. But
I
she's
can't
here.
fault you for doing it. I mean, you can't like put your life entirely on hold, and wait for Trump to be out of office and hope that things will be better on the other side. Obviously, you didn't know a pandemic was going to happen, but I'm gonna leave it on the note of there's always hope.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe Joe can make a difference.
She is. She's going
Yeah.
to. She's going
Yeah,
to.
she's going
Yeah.
to. So
Yeah.
Our daughter will save everybody. Don't worry.
No pressure. Well, Laura, Mike, thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to me. This was really nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks
it's
for
really nice
having
talking
us.
with you, MK.
And good luck with everything. And
Thanks.
yeah, like, this is the post edit part. So hit me up anytime if you need anything. And yeah, thanks again. This is really great.
Of course. Yeah. Can't wait to see you in the world again.
That would be great. Yeah, once things are safe again, and you know.
See you in
people-
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, outdoors at a bonfire.
Thanks for listening to More Music Please Quarantine Beat. Follow the show on Instagram at moremusic.podcast and check out the website moremusicpodcast.com for new episodes. Questions or comments, email moremusic.podcast@gmail.com. Thanks to DJ Scully, Michael Cadnar, and James Stewart for the catchy theme song you're hearing now. I'm MK Burnell. Talk to you next time.